starts with a fresh shot of espresso. Bold, rich, pulled just right. Then comes the milk, steamed smooth, creamy, and balanced. The perfect latte is not rushed. It is crafted, one cup at a time. Your perfect latte is ready. Coffee first, then everything else.
Good afternoon and welcome to Beyond the Headlines. I'm DJ Moises, and today's conversation is brought to us by Coffee First. Today we look deeper and think better at three stories shaping the future of Cebu. First, the Department of Justice probes 20 individuals over alleged anomalous flood control projects in Cebu. Second, City Council defers decision on tree cutting for housing project after major flooding. And then third, Cebu Province to build a 10.5 million People's Heritage Park inside the capital compound. For the latest developments, let's begin with our first story. Flood control projects are meant to protect communities from disaster. But what happens when the very projects funded to save lives become the subject of a corruption investigation? The Department of Justice has launched a probe into 20 individuals allegedly linked to the anomalous flood control projects in Cebu, adding another chapter to the government's broader crackdown on questionable infrastructure spending. For the latest developments, here's our reporter, Third Ann Malonzo. So Third, good afternoon.
Yes, good afternoon. Jay.
Yeah, so for those who are hearing about this for the first time, can you walk us through exactly about such investigation that's now being conducted by the Department of Justice?
Yes, the Department of Justice is conducting a preliminary investigation against 20 individuals, including 2 contractors and officials and employees of the Department of Public Works and Highways in relation to 2 alleged anomalous flood control projects in the 3rd District of Cebu City. In a press conference on Tuesday, August 4, DOJ spokesperson, Attorney Paulo Martinez, said the National Prosecution Service has received criminal complaints filed by the National Bureau of Investigation Cebu District Office against the 20 individuals on July 29. He said the alleged anomalous project was implemented in Barangay Singsing in the municipality of Balamban. Among the criminal complaints filed by the NBI against these individuals were technical malversation of public funds for the violation of Republic Act 3019 or the Anti-Graft and Corrupt Practices Act, perjury, falsification of public documents, and violation to the Government Procurement Reform Act. Martinez, however, emphasized that these are complaints for purposes of preliminary investigation as of this stage, noting that no conclusion of finding has been made yet. He said every respondent will be given the opportunity to submit a counter affidavit and counter the evidence against him or her. He said the investigation forms part of the broader inquiry being conducted by the administration in the flood control anomalies in the country.
Third, were the 20 individuals or respondents, were they already identified?
So we already have the name, pero
Okay.
hindi pa kasi, i-clarify muna, kini-clear muna natin kung pwede na silang pangalanan. Since this is still under preliminary investigation, kumbaga hindi pa nakasampak formal ang kaso sa korte.
Mhm. And then for the benefit of our viewers, the 3rd District is composed of Balamban, Asturias, Toledo, and then there's Barili, Pinamungahan, and then Tuburan. And then from your report, I heard that there are 2 kanang projects that are being questioned. Were the locations of the 2 also already identified or at least ready to be shared, no, to the public?
That's in Barangay Singsing in the municipality of Balamban.
Okay. So, how did the investigators identify this anomalous project? Were they reported or they just found these out by themselves?
Kasi alam nga natin, Sir DJ, no, last year issue ng order ang Presidente Ferdinand Bongbong Marcos na for law enforcement agencies, gumawa pa siya ng ITI to investigate flood control projects, implementation of flood control projects across the country. And this was part of that investigation.
So, kanang at least if I am to just share my view, at least kanang it's moving, no? Because I could also sense that there are certain impatience, especially now that we are seeing more water, no? Within the context of flooding in Cebu, and we've been through harrowing experiences, no, months ago with Typhoon Tino, and some Cebuanos actually thought that little to none has been done, no, about the investigation. So at least now this is moving forward, no, and starting just in Balamban. Are you also hearing other investigations that could eventually kanang expand this to a broader scale, considering also the perennial flooding that Cebu has been experiencing, and also the statement that was also made by the president when he said that come 2027 there will be no more flooding in Cebu?
Actually, sinabi kahapon ni Attorney Poto Martinez, no, na they're expecting more cases, not only in Cebu but across the country na mapa-file or dadating sa kanilang opisina for further investigation.
Sige, thank you very much, Third, for your update specific to this.
Thank you, Sir DJ.
Yeah, so that's Third Ann Malonzo, no? She's our correspondent based in the National Capital Region. So now our next story also centers on public interest, also related to flooding, but this time the focus is shifting from accountability to sustainability. So in the wake of the recent flooding that affected several parts of Cebu City, questions are once again being raised about the balance between urban development and environmental protection. The Cebu City Council has deferred action on a request to cut around 60 trees from a housing project in Barangay Guadalupe, saying it wants a closer review of the proposal and its possible impact on flooding and the environment. The discussion comes amid heightened public concern following recent heavy rains and continuing debates over hillside development and flood mitigation in the city. So to help us understand why the council decided to put the proposal on hold and what happens next, we are joined by Cebu City Councilor Joel Garganera, the Chair of Committee on Environment. Hello, Cons. Welcome back to Beyond the Headlines.
Mayong udto og thank you for inviting me.
And thank you also for making time for this, no? So Cons, can you also walk us through what led to the council's decision to defer, no, the request to cut around 60 trees, no, in this particular housing development?
Well, my office just received sometime last week the endorsement from the CICINRO regarding the cutting and earthballing of the trees that are being requested by Arcenas. No, so in fact, they conducted an ocular investigation sometime March. That is insofar as CICINRO is concerned. So kagahapon, when I saw it in the agenda that it was part, no, considering also what transpired, no, over the weekend, grabe kayo, massive kayo ang flooding diha sa downstream, especially diha sa Tisa, La Paloma. And I knew nga ang Technical Infrastructure Committee, the mayor was also there together with the barangay officials, had a meeting over the weekend regarding the matter. So para na akong gi-endorse dito. Gi-endorse na ako dito sa Technical Infrastructure Committee, and at the same time, akong gi-manduan ang CICINRO. Ang CICINRO, atong CICINRO, nga i-revisit, i-reinvestigate. Ug naa pa ba ng mga kahoya? Kay insofar as drone shots from social media and from media, grabe naman kayo ang pahak sa bukid. No? Kaning mura naman nagnata sa buwan. So I have an inkling of basig wala na ni sa mga kauyang. And that's the reason nga akong gipabalik ang Sinro dito, ipa-reinvestigate, no? Ug naa ba. So before we act on it, akong gipa-reinvestigate ug unsa, no? So at least conclusive kay naay report sa Technical Infrastructure Committee, no, nga naa dito together with the barangay mas broad, no, ang ilahang investigation, and then that's the time we will hear from the result of this revisiting the area.
From the statement that you gave, actually, Cons, I have at least two questions, no, but I'll start with katong the later portion of what you just said. So and right now our viewers can also see, Cons, now that we are showing the picture now of the aerial view of the site, no, and like you, if we just look at the aerial view, there seems to be no more trees, no, at least on the developed section. So when you said, Cons, nga kanang you wanted it check, you mean that we are seeing a possibility na before that was endorsed to your office and also to the council, it's likely also that the trees were already cut, no, or removed from the area, and that's what you want to check, no, before even deciding on it.
Yeah, we have to ascertain. We have to ascertain of napa ba ni mga kahoya. As you very well know, I passed an ordinance last year, ordinance number 2782, nga before any cutting or earth move or earth bowling, ang kaning mga developer should take into consideration the living things in the area, in the property. Dili kay ang atong mga architect, pasagdan lang sila nga it's like a clean canvas nga maghimo na sila design. They have to incorporate the design, no? Ang mga kahoy to lessen damage or cutting or earth bowling. In fact, the previous ordinance that was like 10 years ago or 8 years ago, nag-require lang og 20 trees or more ang ikat. Diretso na sila sa 20 trees ang ikat, kaning wala na jurisdiction ang Cebu City, no? Kay ang cutting magudani from Cebu City through a council resolution, muap na ang national office ang Sinro. Pero ako nang giusab na nako, dili kay 20 trees na po kahoy na gani nga naay posibilidad nga maputol. Dili, we should acquire jurisdiction ani. Dili ni pwede. Nga kinahanglan yun, mas makasalbar ta og daghang kahoy, no? So kanay magod may series of meeting with DNR National. Matod pa nila nga basta kuno og private property, kaning as long as they get the permits from them, pwede na punuputon ko, dili na pwede. Kay 80% baya sa yuta diri sa dakbayan sa Subo nas bukid. Nga kanira bang mga kahoy na to nga nas bukid, mao ra ba ni makapugong na to sa atong tubig nga haguros ra padung diri sa ato ang mama. No? Ug dili ni nato tagaan og importansya nga mamutol lang og diretso diha. Asa man atong kapaingnan, mao na siya ang unod sa akong, that's the reason why I delivered the privilege speech yesterday, no? Asking the mayor, kay if you recall last year 2025 December 16, I delivered a privilege speech asking the mayor to impose a moratorium on all upland developments. So in other words, dili ta manawat og bag-ong application, at the same time revisit no, and reinvestigate existing upland developments and to ensure, no, nga they are compliant with environmental regulations, no? Ako I'm not anti-upland development, but they should put protection in place. No? This is not a question they are both enemies. No. It should be both science and of course development. No? Para na ako, if we will not be intervening, you cannot expect a different result, John. No, we cannot expect a different result. The more mo grabe. And then if I last year, pag December 16, December 17, ang mayor ni Tubag, dahil siya, naingon siya nga, yes, I'll support the moratorium. And in fact, he even added nga, if there are those that violate, I will not be to impose suspension whatsoever, no? But that was 232 days ago, John, no? 232 days ago, and then we never heard of any updates on what's been happening there, no? So, Mona, that's the point na we need update from the mayor. Unsa may imong gibuhat, yan ang 232 ka adlaw nga, what's the result nga you have instructed the Sindro or Obo, whatever office nga, are they being compliant with the protection no sa ilang development?
And
I
then
think that's it.
yes, and then for the benefit of our viewers, Cons, when we say CISENRO, we are referring to the Cebu City Environment and Natural Resource Office, no? And CISENRO actually
Kanang CISENRO, Cebu City. And then CENRO, that's the national.
okay. And then this one, the agency in Cebu City, this is under the executive branch.
Yes.
Okay. So with that clarification, Cons, ang question sa nako is, di ba, because you mentioned that it was endorsed to your office and to the council, does the endorsement actually mean that the CISENRO is already okay about it and is just asking you and the council to approve it?
Yes.
And that to me is a surprise, no?
Yeah, it comes from the executive, and then before it will go to the national CENRO, no, for the final permitting. It has to get a council resolution, and normally they course it to my office, being the chairman of in the environment, and then. Kana sa una si Mayor sa una when na diri sa Moa, grabe na siya mo kuti-kuti. Grabe gina siya mo kuti-kuti og may mga cutting which I admire. No? Sa una. That's why mo naka-instigate na ako, no, kay we should need an ordinance in order to make my job easier. Nga nanata existing ordinance nga ilan ning tumanon nga they have to incorporate the trees in their design. But ako ning nabasahan lang sa drone ang kaning Arcenas, I think their development plan was approved sometime in 2024. So that was like a year before the adoption of my ordinance, because it was approved in June of last year pa.
And the reason why I ask you about it, Cons, because I was just, as an everyday Cebuano, no, I was just hoping that under the executive branch, it has already been decided on clearly the position before even passing it to your office and the council. That's just where I was coming from, considering also that our mayor is an environmentalist. No, that's where my question was coming from. Yeah.
Yes, and then I have to add more on that, no. The mayor appointed me as member of the quarry, the mining board. Usually a mining board holds meeting twice a month to address issues, no, especially in the mountain areas. But would you believe, since he assumed office, katulo kami nag-meet? So daghan sa yung mga quarry operations that's been happening there in the mountain barangays. So we're not able to address it. Kay, wa man, katulong pa man ni nag-meet. In fact, he appointed me as member, but wa ko'y voting rights. So muna nga with the many problems, especially about the upland areas, na grabe na kayo ang quarry. How can we address it? Unya, plus the fact, I tell you this, kaning compliant man niya atong mga enforcers nato sa Sisinro. But sad to note, mabuhian lang di pa mainit ang ilang lubot because somehow kaning the executive is not really that serious in enforcing strictly labi na kaning mga illegal quarry operators.
So now this is, I will end this interview cons with a much even broader question ba, considering that it's already rainy season. And the sad part in which everyday Cebuanos would notice is in the past, we would see floods like this when there is a typhoon, no? But karon, even with what seems to look like ordinary rain, we're already seeing more water.
Yeah.
At least from where you are, Consba, and then looking at the overall kanang environmental projects and considerations of the city na ba? Are you seeing more action this time to actually curb this? Because the situation looks like it's getting worse than getting better.
Yeah, as I said earlier, that was 232 days ago that he said he's going to take some action, revisit all the existing development in the upland area. But it's been like 232 days, wala may update on what's been going on. Dili man gud ni ang governance is not how fast you go to an area nga na flooded. You know, ang governance is how to prevent for the next flood not to happen. No? So kaning he has enough time, no? So kagahapon nangali lang kog update kay para nako igwala kay serious intervention ani. You cannot expect a different result. Mas mo grabe pa ni gani. As you said, ganito'y bagyo. No? Yeah, ordinaryo ra po nga series of rain. Grabe naman gani kaayo ang na-experiensya labi na sa atong mga kaigsunan diya sa Tisa o sa La Paloma. No, so I hope he made true to his promise na moratorium, but as far as I'm concerned, wa mo ko'y nakita ang executive order to that effect. So that's why I'm worried about it ba.
Sige, thank you very much, Councilor Joel, for making time for this interview.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. So that was Cebu City Councilor Joel Garganera. He's the City Council or Cebu City Council's chair of the Committee on Environment. And before we move to our next story ba, kanang just allow me to just kanang connect the several dots that I've been seeing about this problem as an everyday kanang Cebuano, no? So Councilor Joel already said na the moratorium was actually done 262 days ago, and it looked like there's little progress. If we recall also after Tino, daghan kay tag episodes ato about analyzing what truly happened. And one of the conversations that I could remember is because ang Cebu Mangud is looks like a vertical island. So tungod kay kanang either we go towards the sea, di man ta pwede magtukod sa dagat, so that's why there are developments that are going up the mountains. And as we know, there are risks na dayon, no? Environmental risks such as kaning nakita nato karon. I remember clearly nga ang recommendation at that time is supposed to have a vertical transportation also, no? Kay para people, instead of moving towards the mountain, people are going to move towards the north and towards the south. And for that to happen, of course, there are developments that are required, no, ecosystems that are required in the north and in the south, so that people will not see the need to actually just find opportunities and actually live in Cebu. So we're distributing them across the island. And among the heavy conversation at that time was really infrastructure, no? Katong expressway or speedier transportation, which is a train, for example. And karon lang kay murag kanang nanamantala na pod sa kanang flooding season. Kuan lang ko kana kahinumdum lang ko adto nga conversation, because after the typhoon I'm not hearing anything significant, no, in terms of the infrastructure developments that I just mentioned to allow people to move up the north and south. And I'm not also hearing much also about what needs to be done so that the development of the city is not moving always towards the mountain, that will also not only create environmental risks, but to be more specific, there's the damage, no, that could potentially result to flooding, no, flooding the lowlands. So I just hope that kaning cycle that we are in ba kanang maundang na ni siya, or at the very least, no, gimubo na gyud ako akong standard. I'm not even saying na ma-solve siya completely, but at least there's some semblance ba na we get to see na at least for the flooding situation it's getting better and better. Because as we speak, at least our viewers can also correct me if you disagree, it looks like it's getting worse and worse. No? So that's where the question ba of what's being done in the long term nga nagka-worsen naman siya. No? So I think the urgency of this topic is has been elevated. Urgent na gani, gihimo pa gyud siyang more urgent, and then himuon pa gyud nato siyang most urgent. Okay, sige. So let's move to our third story. So while the previous story focused on balancing development with environmental stewardship, our next story, at least for a change, highlights an investment in public spaces designed for everyone to enjoy. You know? So at least we're going to end today's episode with something positive. So Cebuanos will soon have a new place to relax, study, exercise, and even hold meetings for free. The Cebu Provincial Government is building the 10.5 million People's Heritage Park inside the capital compound, featuring green spaces, study hubs, fitness areas, a glass house with meeting rooms, and more. No? So we will be, this is still a developing story, but at least you get to see, no, from the video that we are showing on screen, work, no, has already started. And ang comment lang nako ani before we close kanang today's episode ba, I always have a bias towards kanang public spaces. Kay if we notice man good, murag in the Philippines in general, and that also includes Cebu, we have a mall culture rather than a park culture. That's why I welcome developments such as this one ba nga. People will have more options aside from going to the mall. They can also go something more natural and outdoorsy, and I'm referring to parks, no. So I'm also glad that there are more and more initiatives, no, that are aligned to this, and I'm also glad that more than just parks, there are also options for people to actually study and to hold meetings, no, because that also will promote, in my view, better well-being. Kay lahi man gyud kung confined ta inside a retail shop, no, than we are actually just outside enjoying the environment. And if it's a glass house, even if we're indoors, but at least we get to see, no, more greeneries on the outside. So at least we're going to end today's episode with something positive, and I'm looking forward for the completion of this project, and hopefully there will be similar projects also that we will be seeing in Cebu, in Mandaue, and even in Lapu-Lapu City. So today we have three stories, and together they ask one important question: what kind of future are we building for our communities? No? And this question is also addressed specifically, no, to our leaders. No? So we began with accountability, then turned to environmental stewardship, and finally we looked at an investment in public spaces. Three stories, one shared responsibility to ensure that every decision we make today creates a stronger, safer, and better community and people of tomorrow. So let's continue to look deeper and think better because headlines tell us what happened. Understanding will tell us why it matters. So I'm DJ Moises. Shout out to Coffee First for supporting conversations that matter. And this is Beyond the Headlines. Have a good afternoon.
It starts with a fresh shot of espresso. Bold, rich, pulled just right. Then comes the milk, steamed smooth, creamy, and balanced. The perfect latte is not rushed. It is crafted, one cup at a time. Your perfect latte is ready. Coffee first, then everything else.